Right now, we're in the middle of the NCAA tournament, but what would happen if the NBA draft was tonight? Now for the order, we're going to be going based on the current standings at the time of this recording, but keep in mind, the lottery order, especially after the top 5, has been drastically changing every single night, and the actual lottery is only going to change that further, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to catch Detroit for the worst record in the league as they currently sit with just 15 wins. The 3 worst teams are all going to have the same odds for the number 1 pick, but if the Pistons are here, really whoever's here is going to be selecting none other than Victor Wembanyama. I've honestly been amazed how little he's being talked about in comparison to recent consensus top picks such as Zion Williamson. Obviously, he's not playing in the US, but we're talking about a player standing at least 7'4" with easily the most impressive wing skill set we've ever seen from someone even close to that height. Right now overseas, he's averaging 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks a game. Considering there's a much different statistical standard in Europe, this isn't a guy that's just an exciting prospect on paper. He's going to come into the league projected to dominate on both ends. Joining Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, I don't think it's the most exciting possible landing spot, but it definitely isn't the worst. Today's video is sponsored by PrizePicks, a sports pick'em platform legal in over 30 US states to people 19 years or older, but state restrictions may vary. You just pick over or under on player stats for now up to 25 times your entry, and I've had a lot of fun lately with the big tournament going on. It's back on tonight, so you guys already know I'm bringing you an entry. I'm going to be going with some guys that just haven't had that big tournament game yet. I'm taking Keontae Johnson's points. I'm going to take the points on some guys that we're going to be talking about in a second, Jordan Hawkins and Nick Smith Jr., and I'm finishing it off with Josiah James. All this happens, my $25 entry becomes $250. Now I want to emphasize that PrizePicks is for entertainment purposes only and needs to be played responsibly. If you're interested, go to the link in the description, and if you use code JimmerRange when you sign up, they're going to give you a deposit match up to $100. Thank you PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. The second overall pick is where the debates really start. The Rockets are here, a team that might be the furthest away from getting back on track. For most of the season, it seemed we had a clear 1 and 2, Wembanyama, then Scoot Henderson. But we now have another player that jumped in the mix, a player that I actually think the Rockets are going to take here, Alabama wing Brandon Miller. As amazing as Miller's been, he's another guy that's not getting the attention he deserves. In most years, he would be the consensus top pick in the draft. He's 6'9" with elite length, defensive upside, and right now is one of the top players in all of college basketball. The biggest draw being his elite level shooting, both on and off the ball. This year he's averaging 19 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 40% from 3 on over 7 attempts a game. Now Miller hasn't passed up Scoot just yet. It's going to come down to what team is here, but in this case, we've got the Rockets, who give the slight edge to Miller. The Spurs are at 3, and now their decision is pretty much made for them. They're going to be going with the top point guard in the class, jaw-dropping athlete Scoot Henderson. Like Miller, there's a lot of years where Scoot would be the top overall pick in the draft. This year in the G League, he averaged 17 points and 7 assists. Now his game's not perfect. He shot just 28% from 3, but he's a creative above-the-rim finisher comparable to the likes of previous elite prospects Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook. He has a long, NBA-ready frame, and here, the Spurs are ecstatic to pair him up with their recent picks like Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. The 4th overall pick right now belongs to the Charlotte Hornets. There's a clear top 3 in this draft, there's no doubt about that. Here is where we really start to see the varying opinions, but I think there's 2 players that seem to be becoming more and more likely contenders for this spot, and that's going to be the Thompson twins, Ausar and Amin Thompson. The 6'7" hyper-athletic twins are some of the most exciting prospects in this class. Depending on the order, we could see either of them come off the board first, but I think the Hornets here are going to go with Ausar, who projects to be a much stronger fit alongside LaMelo Ball. This season, in the new Overtime Elite League, he's averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Both the brothers are long with effortless games, but I think it's Ausar's growth as a 3-point threat that is a difference maker for the Hornets here. The Magic are on the clock next at 5. They've got a super promising young core. There's several routes they could take here, but it seems they would just be going with whichever twin is left, in this case, Amin Thompson. Now the Magic do currently sit with a lot of point guards on this roster with Fultz, Anthony, and Suggs, but it doesn't seem like they've necessarily found their long-term answer, and considering Thompson still has a lot of positional flexibility, the Magic don't hesitate to take him here, given the upside. Next up, we've got the Portland Trailblazers, another team that could go a ton of different routes, but it seems forward is the most likely. They're going to go with a guy that's been a board riser all season, one of the leaders of the top-ranked Houston team, power forward Jarris Walker. This year, he's averaged 11 points and 7 boards on solid splits. He stands at 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan. He's got a rock-solid frame, but still relatively agile. Anytime you have a player with this kind of physical profile, this much defensive versatility, and promise as an outside scorer, you're going to be a top pick. And this year, is no different. With Jeremy Grant set to be a free agent and Walker still bringing a ton of upside to the table, it seems like a likely selection for Portland. The Pacers are at 7, and they're going to go with another guy that's just flown up the board, Taylor Hendricks from UCF. Coming into the season, he wasn't even really on the map to go one and done, graduating as just the 59th player in the country, but today, this is a guy that could end up in the top 5 when it's all said and done. He's a 6'9" forward who can defend all over the court, and as a freshman this year, averaged 15 points and 7 rebounds, shooting 40% from 3 on nearly 5 attempts a game. Going to the Pacers, it seems like the perfect fit. The Washington Wizards are on the clock at 8. I think you could put a lot of guys here, but with Cason Wallace on the board, it just seems unlikely they'd pass on him. This year, the Kentucky point guard averaged 12 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds, standing at 6'3" with a 6'6" wingspan. With the promise and growth he's shown as a perimeter scorer, Wallace might end up as an incredible value in this draft, considering he might just be the best defender in this class. The Wizards have been unable to fill the point guard hole since the departure of John Wall, so here, they try to address it. Then at 9, we actually have the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that before the injuries looked like possible title contenders. Here they're going to go with Villanova power forward Cam Whitmore. As a freshman this season, he averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds, shooting 48% from the field and 35% from 3. He defends all over the court and lives above the rim. The Pelicans are going to be battling risk to reward here at 9, and Cam Whitmore seems like a great pick given those circumstances. With that said, you've got to think the Pelicans are one of the most likely trade-out candidates of the lottery this year. The Magic are back on the clock at 10. They went point guard with their first pick, and now they go with a wing, getting one of my favorite prospects in this draft, Kansas's Grady Diallo. Grady just might be the safest selection in this range. There's not a glaring hole in his game, and this year as a freshman, averaged 14 points and 5 rebounds, while being one of the best shooters in the country, shooting 40% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. His shot creation will ultimately determine his upside, but I absolutely love this selection for the Magic. For the next selection, we've got the Toronto Raptors, and they go with another draft board riser, Ohio State wing Bryce Sexton. The Raptors have one of the most unpredictable futures in the entire league, so keeping it simple and going with one of the most productive freshman wings in the country makes a lot of sense. This year he averaged 17 points, shooting 48% from the field and 41% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. The 12th overall pick belongs to the Lakers, who shoot for upside, going with Nick Smith Jr., one of the most interesting prospects in this class right now. He came in as one of the top recruits and was projected to be a top 5 pick in the draft, but the lack of production is just hard to ignore. He's averaged just 13 points at Arkansas this season, shooting just 37% from the field and 32% from 3, but some of this can be attributed to knee injuries he's dealt with throughout the year. Standing at 6'4" with a 6'9" wingspan and an elite scoring skill set at multiple levels, there's absolutely no denying the upside. He could go as high as a top 5 pick in this draft, or as low as a few picks outside of the lottery, but in this case, he's still on the board here at 12, and the Lakers take the chance. 13 belongs to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're going to go with one of the biggest names left in the NCAA tournament, UConn shooting guard Jordan Hawkins. He's 6'5", with a chance to become one of the league's premier three-point threats, given his lightning-quick release. As a sophomore this year, he's averaged 16 points, shooting 38% from 3 on 8 attempts a game. The Thunder need more high-volume three-point threats, so this selection really feels like a no-brainer given who's on the board. With the last pick of the lottery, we've got the Utah Jazz, who go with oversized combo guard Anthony Black. This season, he's averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, playing alongside Nick Smith at Arkansas, and like Nick Smith, he came in as one of the top recruits in the country. Right now, the Jazz are building a super solid group, so I think they'd be ecstatic to see the well-rounded Anthony Black still on the board. But that's the end of you guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like and sub button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.